Esto fue peor que María.
Image shows the massive storm as it made landfall just hours ago.
Hello, this is Louis.
Even before Hurricane Fiona made landfall, all of Puerto Rico was without power.
About 1,000 people rescued from floodwaters, hundreds more rescue efforts still underway.
With the eye of the Category 1 storm over the mainland, the entire island is under the threat of catastrophic flooding. Puerto Rican Governor Pedro Pierluisi says they've already seen continuous rains on large parts of the island, especially in the east. He says they have a flood warning in effect until tomorrow. It's forced many to flee their homes. This man and his mother have bunkered down in a shelter. He says their home is in a flood zone, and he's worried because it's an older home in need of repair, a problem many are facing on the island, some still dealing with the devastation of Hurricane Maria 5 years ago. The Category 5 storm left almost 3,000 dead on Puerto Rico alone. The scale of destruction was extraordinary. Some areas went months without power. Still, officials did learn lessons from that disaster. Puerto Rico's ports have been closed and all flights canceled. U.S. President Joe Biden has declared a state of emergency.
Hello, this is Louis. Look at the stinking mess I have here. I've been super busy picking up materials. I already decided the panels I'm going to go with for the shed.
A state of emergency in Puerto Rico. At this hour, Hurricane Fiona is slamming the island with 85-mile-per-hour sustained winds. The remnants of an asphalt roof blowing through the streets. The governor of Puerto Rico is calling the damage catastrophic. This satellite image shows the massive storm as it made landfall just hours ago, nearly 5 years to the day of Hurricane Maria. The entire island losing all electricity. More than 3 million residents face a dark and dangerous night ahead. The island's governor says it's all hands on deck, telling ABC News that the island is better prepared now than it was 5 years ago for Hurricane Maria, but it remains to be seen if the preparations were enough.
Tonight, Hurricane Fiona slamming Puerto Rico with powerful winds and flooding rain, knocking out the fragile power grid. Now, an island-wide blackout. 1.5 million customers without electricity. Category 1 hurricane making landfall with sustained winds of 85 miles per hour, knocking down trees and power lines, expected to dump up to 2 feet of rain. High winds ripping the roof off the structure, tearing it to shreds. Julito Cirino says he was sleeping when the winds tore the roof off his house. The storm dumping torrential rain across much of the island. Watch as raging floodwaters sweep away this bridge, reportedly newly constructed after Hurricane Maria. President Biden declaring a state of emergency, the governor of Puerto Rico calling the damage catastrophic, but earlier saying they were ready with enough resources to respond.
This storm is going to affect the whole island one way or another, specifically the southern part here. What is your biggest concern right now for Puerto Rico?
I don't want any loss of life here. Once that's taken care of, then restoring the electric service.
Fiona arriving nearly 5 years ago to the day as Maria, which killed nearly 3,000 people.
Still so fresh in everyone's minds here. It's got to be, another punch.
But that's why people are very responsive and they cooperate, because they remember, they still remember Maria. And nobody wants that happening again, and including the aftermath. So this is all hands on deck.
this is Louis, and today I will be showing how my rain harvesting system works. Everything down to the 10,000 gallon water storage.
Victor, clearly the already fragile electric grid was not able to withstand the strength of this storm. Any idea when power might be restored?
Lindsay, the company repairing the grid said it is going to take days to restore power to the entire island, and that right now conditions are so rough. The rain, it just keeps coming down. The flooding, it's getting even worse in the southwest part of Puerto Rico right now. They can't even begin to assess the situation. But before Fiona hit, I spoke with the vice president of the company, Luma Energy, and they tell me they have all the resources in place ready to go once the storm passes. But for people here in Puerto Rico, they take that with a grain of salt.
And again, it also has, just in case at nighttime there's any type of problem, for maintenance, a 12-volt light bulb. Solar hot water heater right here. This is how usually things are done here in Puerto Rico. This right here, this is a little bunker I actually have set up just in case there's a catastrophic hurricane coming towards Puerto Rico or whatever. I take these panels, I throw them in there. That gets completely covered up, and once the hurricane is over, the panels come back out. The reason why I set that up is because during Hurricane Maria, the winds up here got to 200 plus miles per hour. My friend who also has a solar system, he left his panels up. He lost all his panels. He completely lost them all. That's why I actually set that up.
Almost the entire island of Puerto Rico remains in the dark after Hurricane Fiona slammed into the southwestern coast of the island Sunday afternoon. Pounding rainfall causing catastrophic mudslides and flooding. The storm coming just as parts of the island were finally recovering from Hurricane Maria's destruction 5 years ago.
It's been rough. We've been just working to get back this neighborhood, get it back from Maria, that everything was destroyed. Restaurants, houses, everything was destroyed. And we just not all the way back, but we just halfway back. A lot of people, more than Maria, lost their houses now, lost everything on their houses because of the flooding.
This is the barrio, the neighborhood where the National Guard had to come and rescue people. Still a lot of flooding. I can hear generators powering the home, and it is still pouring down with rain. Neighbors looking out, wondering exactly what will come next as Hurricane Fiona, the remnants of it, continue to demolish this area.
Esto fue peor que María.
She says this was worse than Maria.
She's pointing out that they've already been underwater for 24 hours and the rain is still coming down. So she's concerned about the 2,500 families that she says are impacted by this here.
About 1,000 people rescued from floodwaters, hundreds more rescue efforts still underway as emergency responders try to navigate through difficult-to-reach areas.
I'm back. Now I'm going to show my 10,000 gallon cistern. This is a concrete cistern the size of a small room that's full of water. This sucker is a little bit over 10 feet deep.
There are several organizations that are bringing much-needed aid to the island in the wake of this latest storm. These organizations are donating time, money, food, resources, and volunteers to help those impacted by Hurricane Fiona.
A New York Times report has revealed that in the year 2017, in the aftermath of Hurricane Maria, Trump was considering the idea of selling off the island of Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rican Governor Pedro Pierluisi says they've already seen continuous rains on large parts of the island, especially in the east. He says they have a flood warning in effect until tomorrow.
Okay, so Louis out.
This is a rainy day sleeping in bed terrier production 2022.